You may have seen the reports that Jeremy Boring, co-CEO of the Daily Wire, is stepping down and possibly even leaving, only now being an advisor. What you may not have seen are the numbers for Brett Cooper and the comment section. Today, we'll dive deep into whether or not new leadership at the Daily Wire should do whatever it takes to get Brett back. And maybe she should say yes. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we continue to bring you the news that you need. The headlines for tomorrow's news articles you'll find here indeed. Folks, as we get ready to dive into today's content, consider clicking the like button, and we will get underway dissecting what's going on at the Daily Wire in a way that is going to lift the conversation higher and help out those who want to cover and stop the blows happening between conservative commentators. This is from Brett Cooper. And I know. I've got Jonas in my ear right now somewhere saying, that's Jimmy Fallon, pro. That's no. Brett Cooper is the one who posted it. And why is she posting it? Because Axios reported that Daily Wire co-CEO Jeremy Boring is to step down out of Daily Wire. And so she posted the Jimmy Fallon thing. Well, we all know that Brett Cooper had left the Daily Wire, and it was a big deal, right? And there's been a number of personalities that have left the Daily Wire, and different people have different opinions about the Daily Wire, and it's a major entertainment organization. And so there are people at the Daily Wire that I really like. I mean, I tune in fairly regularly, I suppose, to Dr. Jordan Peterson to hear what he's got to say about things. I like Andrew Klavan, and there are others, so I'm not here to be negative about Daily Wire, but there's something fascinating about all this, and I can't wait to show it to you. This is out of the Bulwark, and it is by Will Summer. It says, a crack in Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire. CEO Jeremy Boring helped build the conservative media empire, and now, with no fanfare, he's out. It says, Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire media empire announced a big shakeup on Tuesday. Co-CEO Jeremy Boring was abruptly stepping down. A contentious and outspoken executive, Boring had become almost as much a face of the company as Shapiro himself. Now, I would remind you all that Jeremy Boring, he wasn't just the co-CEO in a tongue-in-cheek kind of way, but also I think it was even painted on his parking spot at the Daily Wire. He was referred to as the God King of this organization. So not a small fry. It says, while Shapiro lives in Florida, Boring has been building the Daily Wire's main Nashville wing into a right-leaning content juggernaut. In profiles and media biz interviews, the 46-year-old Boring was positioned as a 21st century Rupert Murdoch, claiming the Daily Wire raked in $200 million in revenue last year. But as of Tuesday, all that is on ice. In its press release, the Daily Wire said that Boring was trading his co-CEO position for an advisory role, handling the company's creative projects, and that he'll appear on a monthly podcast. Shapiro said, we can't wait to see what he does next. Now, I'll say this. If you go from being the co-CEO to a quote-unquote advisory role, some of our British friends out there right now are saying advisory advisory. But if you go to an advisory role, and I think he's going to finish up the Pendragon series, and that's it, and it's over, right? He'll be on a monthly podcast, maybe for how long, who knows? That is essentially you're gone, in my estimation. Now, panel, when we bring you in for conversation in just a second, you're free to disagree with me, but I think for all intents and purposes, Jeremy Boring is out at the Daily Wire. And it seems to me, based on what Brett Cooper is posting, that this was not, it's not of surprise, because maybe Jeremy Boring had made some mistakes, or maybe he had just rubbed some people the wrong way. But I think losing Brett Cooper was a very big deal. Now, to give you some idea of what kind of a big deal it is, let me go to this real quick. This is Social Blade. And by the way, if you've been a user of Social Blade in the past, this new version of it is just awful. It's just awful. So whoever did this at Social Blade, Lord, it's terrible. Okay, so here is this is the Social Blade for the comment section. And what we're looking for is viewership of the comment section. And if we go back to August of 2024, we can see that the comment section, which starred Brett Cooper, was getting like 26 million views a week, 22 million views a week, 22 million views a week, 17 million views a week, 16 million views a week, and it goes back up in November. It's back at 27 million views per week, okay? Today, after Brett Cooper is gone, The comment section starring her friend is getting 1 million views per week, 282,000 views per week, 2 million views per week, 900,000 views per week. That doesn't put it anywhere in the realm of what it once was. But lest you think everything is going swimmingly well for Brett Cooper, too, if we go to Brett Cooper, who has a very, it's a shorter history because her channel is new. Brett Cooper herself now is generating 2 million views per week, 4 million views per week, 2 million views per week, 2 million views per week, which if we go back to the height of the comment section with Brett Cooper, that's about 1/11th of what she was doing with the Daily Wire when she was on the comment section. In other words, nobody won. Nobody won with this change. And the question I have now is, if Jeremy Boring was the problem, if Jeremy Boring is the reason that we didn't get more Gina Carano with Daily Wire, and we didn't get Brett Cooper going on and on with Daily Wire, and I don't know, but if he's the reason and Brett Cooper's the one posting this sort of thing, maybe Brett Cooper should go back to the Daily Wire, because the viewership she has right now, and I'm not trying to be negative towards her, I want her to do well. I want the people who are good at Daily Wire to do well. But neither side won when she went away. Panel, it's up to you now. Take it away. What do you think? We'll start with Culture.
Well, my perspective is always going to be that you are always better off working for yourself. As somebody who has done a lot of different things, those are my thoughts. I think that if you have the opportunity to earn for yourself, you're taking 100% of your earnings. She probably has a small staff doing what she does. She probably needs a support staff. But if she's making more than she was over at Daily Wire with an opportunity for her earnings to grow, I don't know that that's necessarily bad. If I were getting 2 million views a week, I think I wouldn't complain at all. I think you're look at Steve, but it's one of those things, Pro, where if her earnings potential can grow even more, and mind you, her audience will continue to grow. She's absolutely brilliant. She is a perfect personality on this platform and others. We don't know what her revenue is coming out of Rumble. We don't know if she has a locals or any other source of revenue. She was very popular on TikTok. So my estimation is her contract at Daily Wire might have been an anchor, and she's free to swim about wherever she wants now. And it's not like her content.
Let me toss you something. Let's just make it interesting, right? Okay. It's no fun if we just all agree on things. Okay. So how about this? Now that Jeremy Boring is gone, if I'm Daily Wire and I look at my comment section thing and I say, okay, this show we have was pulling 24 million viewers per week, and now it's pulling 200,000. And I go to Brett Cooper and I say, Brett, you were getting 22 million views on YouTube, and now you're getting 2 million. Neither one of us is having a good time with the way this has gone necessarily compared to where we were. So, Brett, here's one of those giant Price is Right checks, right? It's the one that they have in the sweepstakes commercials where they pull up to you and they bring it to the people in the front door. How many zeros do you want, Brett Cooper? How many zeros do we have to put behind this number to get you to come back? I don't know. Culture, what do you think about it? Should they do that?
Well, okay. So first of all, they're going to have to back up 4 or 5 Brinks trucks. And I think it's going to have to be what she's experienced solo times many. Because as I would consider that her current Daily Wire contract was, probably 800,000 or 900,000 a year, maybe as much as $1 million. And again, all credit to Jeremy Boring for what he built in conjunction with Shapiro. But when you look at what the potential revenue is, she's going to have to talk to an accountant and ask what the potential earnings are, and somebody who's informed that would be able to break down what her potential earnings are as she's grown to 2 million in how many months, bro?
Say it again, Culture.
2 million. She grew to 2 million views per week in how many months?
She started in January.
Yeah. So she came in, and the interesting thing about her channel is she announced, I guess, in December that she was going to be stepping away. Maybe she announced in late November. She came in with like millions of subscribers right off the bat. And what was fascinating about that was people weren't really sure how that would work on YouTube. Like what happens when you have a channel that's sitting there dormant for 3-4 weeks, yet you have millions of subscribers? Like, how is the algorithm going to respond to that? What do you have to achieve in viewership to be rewarded? Because it's such a strange thing.
Actually, we have a metric for that. It's called Brie Larson and her terrible YouTube channel, post Marvels, and it had, a lot of unearned subscribers based on just her reputation purely. And it got a lot of push from the algorithm, let's say, because of her celebrity status. But, it kind of never took off. It never really went anywhere. It had about the same viewership on every single thing that she did. Apparently, there's a lot of guys out there that like really deformed and long feet. You want to look at water skis a lot when she's doing yoga or working out. But regardless, we've had kind of things to judge it on. I'm just going to say it this way. If I were her, I would insist on giant chunk of money and not just, I'm comfortable kind of money. I mean, we're talking like life-changing money for Daily Wire.
Absolutely. And, sometimes it's very easy for us to go into a conversation like this and to do what others do, which is to pile on. Like, we could take the position, like we could just mock Jeremy Boring, or we could come out, and we could be in full defense mode. I don't want to do that. I want to have something that's more interesting. Like, what do you do with Brett Cooper now? Like, can you get her back? And I'd like to look at these statistics that other people have never seen before. Most people don't know the numbers here. And so one out there.
One last thought on that. 2 million views. Do you know what the earnings are on that, bro? Like, you will soon because you're going to be there soon. But it's extraordinary. So, and it's just like, you have to have something that entices you away from that opportunity, because she's not going to stop growing at 2 million, pro. Let's be honest.
She's not. And this is where I would like to interject, though, and suggest that there's a little bit more at play, too, because of the financial rumors about the Daily Wire right now. And so I can't verify, obviously. I don't know what's going on. But it's being suggested that they're bankrupt or going bankrupt. I don't know.
No way. Yet. No way.
I'm just saying that means, but that means there could actually be. They might not be going bankrupt, but it could mean that there's money problems. And
I think they spent way too much money on the entertainment stuff. I don't think the Bent Keep stuff worked. And I've got stories that I've heard behind the scenes. I'm not going to put them out there because I think the number of people who would know those stories are few, and we don't want to get anybody in trouble. Lauren, let me get you in here. So we're looking at Brett Cooper here. She's doing fine. She's getting probably 12 million views a month. And that's really good until you think, well, she was doing double that in 1 week with the Daily Wire, whatever. Do you think her exit, though, may have been the catalyst for this change at the Daily Wire? Whether it's right or wrong, we'll just set that to the side. Was this the beginning of the end for Jeremy Boring?
Well, it certainly didn't help. They'd already had the exit of Candace Owens, which actually I think was probably a good split. But it never looks good when your sweet, perky, audience-drawing talent goes out the door unceremoniously, especially when you replace that person with their producer and give that producer lessons in how to act like the person that she's replacing. That doesn't look good.
Yeah, that wasn't a good look.
I would also say that there's been controversy with Daily Wire before in that they are, I think, a little heavy-handed in how they treat their talent, in that their take is if you say something controversial and get limited your views on your channels, then that comes out of your paycheck. And that leans towards a kind of censorship that I don't particularly like. Boring has been controversial in the past. I think that that's finally caught up to him. And I also think that because Boring has been so interested in trying to create an alternative to Hollywood, which I think is admirable, but I think he's maybe blown a lot of money, like you were alluding to. I think that that has an awful lot to do with what's going on here. There's another facet of this, which is that, and I'm not saying this to take any pot shots at the Daily Wire or anybody there. It's just that they had more of a utility when the culture was going the opposite direction. It's like when the culture is not providing you with what you want, then you could go to them so that you're getting the slant that you want to see if you're in that minority. Well, the conservatives right now are not in the minority. We control the executive. We control the Congress. We control the judiciary. The culture is swinging the other way, and entertainment is going that way too. So I'm not sure that what the Daily Wire was providing is still a niche.
Did you not go to the same Snow White movie I did?
That's Disney. That's different. Disney is not the only game in town.
Okay. Okay. Have you seen a movie that isn't the old culture? You probably won't for a while, Lorne.
And that's my point. It takes a while to steer the ship, but do you think that they're still going to be doing their Snow White movie?
Well,
no,
not
I
if
was
they
I
got
was
rid
I
of
was
Brett.
gonna make this point when it came around to me, but I'm glad you made it.
Yeah, I mean that's my point.
Let's go to Marvin. I want to play with the point Lauren made. Beyond that, Lauren is saying, and Lauren, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think I've got this right. You're saying that because perhaps the cultural movement has moved conservative, in fact, to such a degree that I believe Rasmussen has even reported this, that young people today, the new generation coming up into adulthood is more conservative than any generation in like 3 cycles, that perhaps like Ben Shapiro was so effective, he's worked his way out of dominance, because the whole idea is that if you're part of the rebellion, right? That's the Luke Skywalker cool group. Well, that's not the position that conservatives and moderates are in anymore. And so that might take some of the gusto away from the Daily Wire and what it was they were trying to do. Marvin, what do you think about it?
I mean, I agree to an extent. However, I think that it's still more when you're completely in line with the mainstream media and entertainment and pop culture and things like that, then you're not the anti-establishment. You are the establishment. And that's what the left is right now. I think the right is still that voice from a pop culture perspective, even though they have control over the federal government. I think right now what would be the best thing for the Daily Wire would be to do everything in its power to get Brett Cooper back, because this week, especially with what we're about to talk about, with the bomb of Snow White, if the Daily Wire could be like, guess what? Brett Cooper's back, and we're making this Snow White movie again. I think that would be a huge, huge moment for them.
Unfortunately, it seems as if the reality is that Snow White was never being made. It was just a spoof. And where the goof is they should have known that they actually had a chance to really do something big. Let's go to Bash.
They could now.
Well, yeah, but 2 years it'll take, to get that thing out. Maybe 1 year if they win as fast as they possibly can, and they're going to have to cast a new lead.
I just want to point out that I just want to point out real quick, a guy named Boring has everyone call him God King. That is even more daring than being named Gordon Summer and having everyone call you Sting.
So, and I'll say this. Well, that's funny. So long as the God King is made in parody and in jest, it's clever, it's funny. If it's part of a real ego, then that's kind of bizarre. But
it's at least partially ego. It's got to be.
But I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt there. I'm not going to rain on the parade of Jeremy Boring too hard, because I'm simply not internal there. I don't know what the day-to-day is. I don't know what he's like personally. I've never talked to the guy, so we want to give the best possible assumptions. Vash, I'm going to give you the opportunity to button this conversation down. Yep. Summarize it, Vash. What do you think about all this?
Well, I think you all have made astounding points right here. I look at Daily Wire and I think it deals with a very particular wing of conservatism, and maybe doesn't speak to the larger story playing out nationwide there. And I think that's the distinction there.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so Vash, to bounce off that in culture, if you want to get in on that button, you're welcome to. I don't want to artificially limit the conversation just because we said it's wrap up time on it. How about this? When the election happened, I was on the show that Ron Coleman was hosting, right? And as part of what I was doing for Ron Coleman, I was attempting to surf the web and all of these shows that were doing the coverage of the election night. And as I'm cycling through, each one has their own flavor. So like PBD has their own flavor. The Young Turks, well, it looked like the apocalypse. But Daily Wire was this very strange place to watch because they were all smoking cigars in blazers. I thought, I don't know how many people are connecting with that in the conservative movement. So and I'm not saying that as a negative. I could be way off base, but it is a very specific flavor of conservatism. That's what you were pointing out, I think, Vash.
Yeah, I think so. It's a particular flavor, and I just don't think it's necessarily representative of what's going on there. Also, too, when you have Matt Walsh talking about how, maybe you shouldn't be playing video games, maybe you should be watching anime, and you ostracize, wings of people who would otherwise watch you. That's never a good look either. And the whole Steven Crowder debacle, I think, was the first time that a lot of people were alerted to the fact that maybe Jeremy Boring and what was going on Daily Wire wasn't the best it possibly could be. I think if that relationship happened, I think they would be really in a different place right now. But it did not. We've seen talent leave in very interesting ways, let's say. So I think there should be a change of leadership at the Daily Wire for sure. And I wish Brett Cooper all the best. Hey, maybe she could be brought back on, and hey, maybe you can get 20 million views a week. That would be excellent for both Cooper and Daily Wire. We'll have to see. I mean, if he's there in an advisory role, I don't know how far that gets.
Well, I'll say this, folks. Don't click the thumbs down on us just because you've got a personality on Daily Wire that you love and you think that we were too harsh or not harsh enough, or maybe you're really angry at Daily Wire. Listen, folks, we try to have the kind of conversation where everybody walks away and says, you know what? I like those guys. I learned a little bit, and we're handling this in a way that hopefully lets you say to yourself, I might slightly disagree with one of the panelists there, but overall, they're trying to give their best assessment when it comes to Daily Wire. The question is, and folks out there in the chat, you answer this. Now that Jeremy Boring is gone, if Jeremy Boring was the reason that Brett Cooper left or a part of it, should Daily Wire do everything they can to undo the parting of the ways and get Brett Cooper back, no matter how many zeros it takes? Tell us what you think about it in the chat. This baby to bed. This video is over. Turn off the lights, but not quite yet, folks, because we do ask one final thing before we say goodbye, and that is, would you consider clicking the like button? Share, subscribe, click it and stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. Also greatly appreciated. Anytime you would like to share this out on your favorite social media platforms, well, we would love that. And we'd also love to hear your thoughts. Folks, drop a comment down below and use that beautiful mind of yours. If you would not mind, we'd love to know what you're thinking. Also, if you would like to become a member of the channel, it's as simple as clicking the join button. It is the price of a soda per month, and you'll gain access to all kinds of new, cool, exclusive information. Folks, until the next time we have the honor of spending time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Jump into the water. Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun. Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.